just realized what he's saying about. She's the last train to San Fernando. You know? All right. Them fellas creative, boy. All right, everybody. So up for discussion now is an interim report toward harmonized AI policies and recommendations for the Caribbean. So we do have on the line this morning Chair of the Caribbean AI Task Force, Dr. Craig Ramlal, and CTU Cybersecurity Consultant, Mr. Shernan Osepa. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us this morning. We do appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Of course.
Thank you for having us.
So, Dr. Ramlal, let's begin with you and tell us a little bit about this interim report. How did it come about? What was the objective? Why was there a need for such a report?
Okay, so first, for starters, AI is absolutely massive, as you can tell in the world. There's a lot of regional governance approaches for AI. Right now, there's about 10 regional frameworks. You have things like the OAS Declaration, you have the OECD AI Principles, you have the Arab League of Educational, Cultural, and Scientific Organization. Many regions around the world are developing AI frameworks and policies. And the reason why they do that is because you need a regional approach to deal with AI governance for modern data flows, for supply chain management, for service across borders, common frameworks to reduce duplication. You want to move your region to a state of economic independence with AI. You can't do that alone with a single nation, so they do it with this regional approach. So I think it's very important that our countries come together to have this very clear consensus, these set of recommendations, that is anchored in these guiding principles for a regional harmonized AI approach for AI governance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Dr. Ramlal. You're finished?
Yeah. So I also think that for us, if we were to do this as our Caribbean countries and we were to do this separately, what will end up happening is that we do not have the market size. Each country does not have the market size to play in the AI game. If we are to move persons or even move systems, and even speak as a regional level towards the entire world, we need to be anchored in at least a common platform on what we want to say. And that will give us a very strong economic point to discuss across the world. There is something called the Global AI Governance a dialogue that is happening at the United Nations. That dialogue happens at UNGA 81st, that is this September coming. And our nations need to have a position in which how we stand with global AI governance and regional AI governance to give us a better point in how we discuss what our needs are in the global space.
Yeah. Mr. Osepa, I want you to come in here because I think Dr. Ramlal was very, very clear that we in the Caribbean, when it comes to AI, we must be going in the same direction and be speaking with one voice.
Yes, it's very important for us to realize as small island development states, the Caribbean has its unique challenges. So we cannot just replicate what others have been doing. We need to focus on what is important to us. And in this particular regard, that's the reason why at the Caribbean Telecommunication Union, we have been looking at how can we harmonize all these AI policies that Dr. Ramlal has been talking about. As small island development states, we do have, as I did mention, our own and unique challenges. We don't have, let's say, the capacity. We need to build capacity and AI talent. We need to have our own people who can solve our own specific problems. We do have, for example, climate change challenges. We are focusing on health, on tourism. So these are the areas where we in the Caribbean should seek for solutions that can address our specific needs and not just replicate what others have been doing around the world.
Yeah. So Dr. Ramlal, I'm seeing here where you're saying with the global AI market projected to reach trillions of dollars, the Caribbean faces a stark choice: remain a peripheral standards taker or act collectively to shape AI in line with Caribbean values and development goals. When we do speak about AI, Dr. Ramlal, I think about how do we in the Caribbean compete with persons in the same sector internationally. Of course, they do have a lot of funds, they do have a lot of technology, they do have a lot of experience, but how do we, countries in the Caribbean, so small, vulnerable, in some cases not really economically stable, so how do we maneuver in this environment?
Yes, that's a very good question. I've been asked this question several times over several years. So what we need to do is we need to understand that we cannot, as you said, we cannot compete with the larger markets. We cannot compete with areas that has massive data and infrastructure that is already placed. So what we need to do is look at our niche markets. We need to look at Carnival. We need to look at the cocoa and the coffee industry. Very tourism. These particular things that the Caribbean has that no one else has, that we now need to digitalize or improve drastically with this AI technology. And the idea is that once we have this regional platform, that we have this common goal, and we are looking at these niche industries that we want to benefit, the idea is that we move together to at least increase the amount of the economic development within those industries, as well as the governance frameworks, make sure that things legally are done well, create sandboxes across countries that allow data flows, allow people flows, allow talent exchanges, and so on. So these are the particular things that I believe would be the best for the Caribbean region. And the interim report does speak to that to a great extent. How the interim report was created was that it consists of about 58 members right now. They are members who are nominations from the Caribbean governments. We have private sector on board, we have CSOs, we have NGOs, we have foundations, and all of us came together under the CTU to create the Caribbean AI Task Force that created this interim report. And this report is really based on all of our collective experience, looking at those particular niche industries, looking at development in key sectors that we want to push forward to give us that competitive edge.
But you know, Mr. Osipa, and I would want to pose that question to Dr. Ramlal, but first to you, Mr. Osipa, how prepared are we? Because I know that when we in the Caribbean, and more so in Trinidad and Tobago, when we first heard about AI a few years ago, of course, companies internationally, and I suspect maybe even here, they were using AI before, but I think that the conversation kind of started to pick up speed, and the conversation started to get louder in the past few years. Of course, there was a bit of hesitation in accepting AI. So let's speak a little bit about that, our preparation in the Caribbean, and also our acceptance of AI.
Yes, and this is exactly basically what we're trying to achieve with this Caribbean AI Task Force. We do have some experts in the Caribbean. If you look at Dr. Craig Ramlal, he has been very humble, but he's one of the experts that we do have in the Caribbean. But it's not only about having these experts. We need to find ways how we can collaborate. And this is exactly what we're doing with this task force, to put all these bright minds together, to have people from the Caribbean and also from the diaspora living elsewhere that can help us to address, as I did mention, the specific challenges that we're facing. So if you look at the outcome of this interim report, as Dr. Ramlal did mention, we are addressing several of these issues. And the key thing is now to not just to highlight them, but what are we going to do with everything that we have identified in the report? So to answer your question, yes, we have been facing the challenges, and we are coming together to see how we are going to get all the challenges addressed.
Yeah. Dr. Ramlal?
Yes, please. Thank you so much. I don't know if you remember me, a couple of weeks ago, I was on TV6 studio with you discussing the Artificial Intelligence Innovation Center, of which I'm the executive director of. the largest AI center in the Caribbean. I don't know if people realize this, but the University of the West Indies, St. Augustine, has been involved in AI since the 1980s. We have launched the first Caribbean AI conference, International AI conference, in 1989. And it sits within the Department of Electrical Computer Engineering and the Faculty of Engineering. So we have been involved in AI for a very long time. It's just that we have not been so, I guess, in the public, or we have been marketing ourselves well with the development of these AI systems. There are a lot of different siloed pockets of AI activities happening around in the Caribbean. Many private organizations have been developing their own AI tools, maybe not to the extent of the foundational models, which is very, very, I would say, critical a set of tools that you need, probably billions of dollars in investment to develop those particular things. But they have been developing their own tools on top. I would like to say that the Artificial Intelligence Innovation Center with the Caribbean AI Task Force stands together to develop these principles and policies. And the AI Center is developing our own models, as I would have said weeks ago, to give to the Caribbean nation. So there's a point where we cannot build large-scale foundational models that cost several billions of US, but we do have high-performance compute that we can build models that is appropriate for our own nations in narrow intelligence type of tools. And we are doing that with many sectors across the Caribbean. So I would say that we are well suited to develop things for the Caribbean, but in the event of comparison with ChatGPT and so on, we will not be looking at those type of initiatives.
You know, Mr. Osepa, I think that when we still do speak about AI, we are very concerned about jobs and AI replacing people, physical work. How do you, as someone in the industry, and maybe for Dr. Ramlal too, but how do you change this narrative and remove this fear?
Okay, if you look, basically change is the only constant. Jobs have been changing from, let's say, from decades, and they will continue to be changed. If I take a look, for example, at yourself, I mean, things have changed. I mean, your colleagues have been doing things in a different ways, let's say, a couple of years ago. And this is the same way with AI. AI is not going to replace people. It will maybe replace those who are not acquainted with AI technologies. So we are just seeing a kind of a shift in other direction. New jobs will be created, and that's the way how we should be looking at it. We should not be scared of AI. AI has been there, as has been mentioned, but we should get acquainted. How can we use it to our advantage and to solve our particular challenges? And that's exactly what we're trying to do also with this AI task force, to build regional AI capacity and talent.
Gentlemen, Dr. Ramlal, when we speak about this interim report, is there, during your work here on this report, is there anything that would have jumped out to you? Read the findings, it could be the challenges, some of the challenges that you are seeing, and if so, then how do you plan to address these challenges?
Okay, so the Caribbean region does have several challenges. It's very difficult to pinpoint one or two of them. I would suggest that we have 5 recommendations. These include, 1, the regional AI policy framework and governance mechanism, which may include an oversight body. That, to me, jumps out as something that is major for the Caribbean region. Another one is to strengthen data governance and digital infrastructure in AI, which can include regional data center, AI high-performance compute platform. Another one is to facilitate AI innovation and industry in key development sectors. That's quite exciting, as we talked about with Carnival, Popo, coffee, and so on, tourism, and so on. to build human capacity, skills, and awareness in the AI age, something that Mr. Osipa would have been speaking about in terms of how do you augment our workforce so that they can use AI tools, and so it's not seen as a replacement of skills and labor, but it's seen as augmenting our staff so that they work faster with these tools. And then the last one would be this multi-stakeholder engagement and collaborative governance, something that the multilaterals has to work to get all of the governments on board so that they agree that this is the particular direction that we want to move ahead in. I think that of all of the recommendations, the ones that I see that most likely will become something enshrined very quickly would be the building human capacity, skills, and awareness of the AI age. I think that is fairly important. I think that that is the recommendation I'm looking at that will be implemented quite soon, and then the rest to follow.
Yeah, gentlemen, I just have about 2 minutes again. Mr. Osipa, I give you 1 minute, and I give Dr. Ramlal the other minute. Go ahead, Mr. Osipa.
Yes, basically this report, this interim report, can still be assessed on our website, on CTU's website, Caribbean Telecommunication website. So we would like to invite, let's say, your viewers to take a look at it, and if they still have comments regarding this interim report, they can send us at Caribbean AI Task Force, and then send us some comments, and then we will take all those into account. Yeah. Thank you.
Dr. Ramlal?
Right, so good. Thank you for that. To add on to that, the email is caitf@ctu.int. This is the interim report. It can change. We expect to have a final report by June 2026, in which we will have a conference called a Caribbean AI Forum. We look forward for all inputs into this report. Please do this. This is for the benefit of the Caribbean people. So please put your input so that we can shape the final set of recommendations of which the governments can discuss or the Caribbean countries can agree to. So thank you for that.
Yeah, gentlemen, it's always a pleasure to speak with you all. Thank you very much for the good work that you all are doing. Until next time, gentlemen, take care. Bye for now.
Thank you.
All right, everybody, we are heading to a very short break. We're coming back.